Pets are exposed to such a higher amount of toxins than we are because of their size and because of their how close to the ground that they are, and then also their grooming habits.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is our weekly Holistic Pet Health Coach Live. I'm Delora DeVore, sitting in for Dr. Ruth, and hopefully she'll be joining us soon, but we're going to get this party started without her. Today, we've got Karin Druckenmiller. She is one of our brilliant holistic pet health coaches. She is a specialist in biotechnology, so we've got so much great information to share with you today on pet toxins and how to prevent and detox naturally. Karin, tell us how you got started in all of this.
Well, first of all, I was one of Dr. Ruth's clients before I became a coach. I had found her somewhere around 2017, and it was after I had lost my Lulu to hemangiosarcoma. And she had a bonded mate named Hank, and Hank was then diagnosed with mast cell cancer. And I knew something was wrong, and I did a search, and I searched for, I think I put in like to Google, has anyone ever had a dog live past 9 months with mast cell cancer? And a blog popped up from Dr. Ruth. And I read her blog, and I was like, this is it. I signed up for the Crock Pet diet, and I booked a couple consults with her, and I got on the protocol for gut rebuilding and then her cancer protocol. And I had amazing results with Hank, and luckily we caught it early. And I'm not saying that everybody's going to get these results, but we caught it early. He was a young dog, and I was able to get him 5 more quality years with a grade 3 mast cell tumor diagnosis. And it wasn't just one, it was multiple. And I think the game changer with that was the Chinese herbal therapy. So that was my journey finding Dr. Ruth. Now, I had been rescuing dogs. At this point, it's been 30 years, I think, this year. And I was rescuing them from the inner city shelters down in Philadelphia. And the dogs that I was taking were the least adoptable and pretty banged up. So I was using the protocol that she had created in order to help bring these guys back to health. And I've had amazing results. So when I saw that Dr. Ruth had a coaching program that she was creating, I thought, this is going to be amazing. This is something I have to check into, because I think I might have one module from what I had already known, but I thought, what else can I do here? And really, it was to help the animals. Really, there's such a great need in our area in the rescue, and there's a lot of pets that really needed help. And I was able to use her protocols to do that, aside of now helping other pet parents and guiding them in how to get their pet's health back.
Amazing. In this course, it's transformational. Have you just put everything aside to be able to help pets?
I'm still working right now, and I'm doing this part-time, but we'll see how it goes. Hopefully. Isn't that all of our goal? All of the coaches want to do this full time.
So much fun. And you make such a difference.
Yeah, what a great job to come in to be able to help people and then have them get back to you and say, I have my kitty's stage 2 kidney disease. We just had blood tests and now they're normal. That's shocking. And that's the kind of transformation that I'm seeing with my clients. It's so exciting.
It's so exciting.
Really
we're glad to be able to tap into your knowledge today. So I have a question for you. What are the most toxins that pets are exposed to daily?
Okay, that would be your household cleaners. And that is when you're using products that are chemical heavy, like bleach and Lysol and Pine Sol, disinfectants. Even if that area that you've cleaned with these kind of cleaners seems dry, the pets, their feet, their paws are still touching this and then they're ingesting it when they're grooming themselves. Air fresheners and scented plug-ins and anything with an unknown fragrance. When you see a product that says fragrance and it doesn't say like lavender essential oil, I want to know what the fragrance is. So these things, they're in the air. They actually bind to the dust. And then if you're not dusting your house, they're getting on their paws or they're getting on their fur, and then they're grooming themselves and they're ingesting it. There's also foods that are toxic to pets. Everybody knows chocolate, especially dark chocolate and macadamia nuts and large quantities of grapes. And now, like in PA, it's cold out and we've had a lot of snow. So now they have all these de-icing salts like on the sidewalk. And then you're throwing it out on your porch so that you don't fall. But then your pets are walking in it. So you really need to take a wet rag and wipe them down when you're bringing them in.
Absolutely. And we have a coach that had personal experience with that and did some deep dives on it and found out that the toxin in that road salt is radon and it's a byproduct of fracking. So there is so many toxins in that salt. So it's very important to thoroughly wash your pet's feet when they come back from a walk.
And then only use it when you need it. If it's not going to be icy, don't douse your patio in it and then have them walk out in it. Use it as it's needed, or use it on your driveway, maybe where they're not walking. There's also pesticides, right? People like to have nice lawns, but they're treating their lawns. They're using fertilizers in their garden and weed killers. And your pets are exposed to this when they're walking around on the ground, or if they like to roll in the grass, now they've rolled themselves in it. See, I think we already talked about dust particles, but I think I needed to touch on the fact that cats are really into grooming, and that dust gets onto their fur and they are grooming it. And it can contain anything from heavy metals to flame retardants, and your pet's ingesting this. It's important to keep your house dust free, which is very hard. And I will be the first to tell you that I am not happy about dusting. Out of all the cleaning, that's the one I don't like. And the other things to keep into consideration are secondhand smoke. That is a big thing. Secondhand smoke from tobacco or even vaping aerosols can expose your pet to harmful chemicals, and that increases their toxic load significantly. So a lot of times our pets will have a higher toxic load than we do because all of these toxins and the dust are falling on the ground, and that's where they're at. They're closer to the ground and they're breathing this stuff in. Did you have anything to add?
Oh, gosh. I didn't want to interrupt, but
I'm sorry. I told you I came really prepared.
I know, me too. Karin and I were talking before we went live, and we're like, oh, this is so fun. We've got so much to talk about. We could do this for hours.
Really? I have way more than an hour content here.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing that I have to add about like the plugins, the things that are ingested through the nose, is that you don't have when things are ingested through the gastro tract, you have your liver that is the detoxification organ, and that's going to help your body get rid of some of those toxins. However, things that are coming through the nose or through your skin does not go through the liver. It goes directly into your bloodstream. So you need to be very careful about smelling things that are basically synthetic. Those laundry detergents that smell amazing for weeks, that's not natural. Those are synthetic chemicals that are getting into your bloodstream via your nose and mucous membranes. So many things that you need to be careful about as far as toxins. But Karin, you got the majority of them for sure. But we could every single one of them.
We can go all over none. And it's scary, but the thing is, you just have to be aware, and then you have to do your due diligence to make sure that you're protecting your pet. And honestly, in protecting your pet, you're also protecting yourself and your family.
Absolutely. Yeah. And whatever you do for your pets is doubly for you as well. It's just a great practice in general. So my next question to you, Karin, is how do these environmental toxins affect a pet's immune system and their longevity?
So they put a heavy weight on your pet's immune system and overall longevity. Pets are exposed to such a higher amount of toxins than we are because of their size and because of their how close to the ground that they are, and then also their grooming habits. There's a constant exposure and it can wreak havoc on their immune system, and it can also shorten their lifespan, unfortunately. So toxins can suppress and over activate the immune system, and then pets can become more vulnerable to infections and chronic inflammation and even autoimmune diseases. So, for instance, like heavy metals, say like mercury or lead, and they can interfere with the normal cell function. Endocrine disruptors can mimic hormones like estrogen and cause hormone imbalances and increase the risk of cancer. Toxins also contribute to oxidative stress, which will damage cells and accelerate aging. And this one really, really affects their longevity. So, unfortunately, oxidative stress causes inflammation throughout the body, which is the root cause of many chronic diseases. So, arthritis, kidney disease, cognitive decline, these can all be attributed to that. And there are so many toxins that your pet's body has to work overtime to detoxify. And it can actually wear down their immune system and their natural defenses. It can also cause problems with the microbiota of the pet's gut and cause leaky gut and food sensitivities and further compromising your pet's health. So, luckily, you are able to support your pet by reducing exposure and then also with detoxification. And there's multiple ways that you can detox. There's fresh foods that you can detox with. You can support the liver and the kidneys to detox, and we're going to get into that a little bit later.
Yes, we are. We've got so much good stuff to talk about. So, how can a pet parent tell if their pet is struggling with toxin overload?
They are going to see that no matter what they do, their pet just seems to be in a state of just unwell, in not a good state of health. So you think you're doing all the right things. You might have switched them to fresh whole foods. You might have given them probiotics to rebuild their gut. Maybe you have cleared out all the chemicals and toxins in your house, but they're still not doing well. They're not doing as well as what you would think. And maybe that they have a skin issue that just won't resolve, or maybe they have diarrhea that just won't resolve, or IBS. When you're finding that these things are just chronic and ongoing, and you're making changes, there might be something hidden that you don't realize is there that's affecting them. Or maybe their toxic burden, say if they came from a shelter environment and they had a lot of stress, maybe they had such a huge toxic load before you got them that it's too much for them, even a little bit of any kind of toxin that they would be exposed to.
Perfect. Thank you. Moving on, we have a question related to this. I'll ask the question and then I'll ask the question from Roxana. What are the best foods and supplements for natural pet detoxification? And Roxana has a corresponding question. My cat has chronic vomiting. Vet thinks IBD, but a hair test showed high. That's aluminum and is that mercury, HG? I don't know my periodic table.
Yes.
Could this be causing it? And what protocol would you advise for detoxing a cat of aluminum and mercury, please?
Okay, first let's talk about foods that help with detoxification, because there are foods that can help. So let's talk about those first. We want to support the pet's body's primary detox pathways. And the foods that we can do that with are the brassica vegetables like broccoli and kale, cauliflower, and Brussels. They help support the liver. Also, dandelion greens, and they're bitter if you can get your pet to eat them. So I'm a home cooker. I do the crock pet diet with my pups. I can get a cup of dandelion greens in their food and it's not going to bother them. But if you have a pet that's picky, it is a little bitter. You want vegetables that are rich in phytonutrients that help the liver process and eliminate these toxins. And you definitely want lightly cooked or steamed veggies or slow cooked like the crock pet diet. Leafy greens like spinach, cilantro, parsley, they help chelate with heavy metals and bind with them and helping the body remove them. Blueberries and cranberries are high in antioxidants, and this can help with combating oxidative stress caused by the toxin exposure. And they're also good for urinary tract health. Pumpkin is a great source of fiber, and it helps the digestive system get moving. And of course, fresh whole food like the crock pet diet with nutrients that will help support the natural detox pathways. You want to stay away from processed foods. So the number one thing I would do is if your pet is having problems, get them off those processed foods because they contain additives and preservatives that can lead to the toxic load or add to the toxic load. Supplements for detoxification. Milk thistle is a go-to for liver support. So the compound called similarin that helps protect the liver cells and it helps promote regeneration. You can use milk thistle for 1 week out of each month. And you especially want to do this if you have to administer any kind of medications, if you are using heartworm preventatives or that kind of thing. Secondly, liposomal glutathione is the master antioxidant. So glutathione is critical for liver detoxification, and it is highly bioavailable. So it makes it very effective to support pets with high toxin exposure or liver issues. And then you want to use a binder. So activated charcoal or the cell core products, they are binders that can help catch these toxins in the gut and then prevent them from being reabsorbed into the body. And they're very useful after exposure to medications or pesticides. But you do have to give these at least 2 hours away from other foods and supplements. And then supporting the gut. A healthy gut microbiome is essential for detoxification. You definitely want to use some kind of probiotics like phytospore or the megaspore to maintain gut health and reduce systemic inflammation. And then omega-3 fatty acids, high doses of omega-3s can reduce inflammation and support gut and liver health. And vitamin C is an antioxidant that supports tissue repair and helps the body handle oxidative stress. and it's a great addition to any detox protocol. And as I was talking about the Cellcore products, so fulvic acid and humic acid is excellent for binding and removing toxins and providing trace minerals to help support overall health. Now, the fulvic acid, I believe it's the fulvic acid gets into the cell, and the humic acid can help pull toxins out of the cell. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Delora.
No, you're doing great.
Okay. And then, so you want to start slow because you want to be gentle with pets that have been unwell for a long time or that have been on a lot of medications. So if you have a pet that's horribly ill, in the case of vomiting, diarrhea, you want to get them stable before you start any of these detox protocols.
100%.
Because we want to do this gently. So if you have a pet who's really sick, you'd probably want to start more with the milk thistle and then build up to the other supplements. Another thing that's very important is hydration. Clean filtered water is going to help the liver and the kidneys flush the toxins out. So this is very tough for pets who are on a kibble diet because it is dried out. There is no moisture in it. And you want that moisture in there to help support the liver and the kidneys. So they need more water then. If you're feeding fresh whole foods, they have moisture in them. If you think of a piece of turkey, that's got moisture in it just naturally. But if you're thinking of a piece of kibble, it's like a rock. There's nothing in it, no moisture in it. So I think I answered her question there. Do you think so, Delora? I just want to make sure I hit the point.
Yeah, I think Roxana, and you're a well-informed pet parent because you do a hair tissue mineral analysis. I would encourage you to get a professional reading of that analysis because detoxing from mercury and aluminum is rather precarious. The mineral balance is so tedious that you'll really need help from a professional. One of our health coaches, like Karin, can help guide you through that process. But if your kitty is vomiting very frequently, there needs to be a little more attention paid to that and to work with your vet. Serious issue. So hopefully we have Roxana taken care of. Now you mentioned water. May I open the can of worms that is water with you, Karin?
Okay, so let me go down to the water. Let me get my notes on water.
Okay, we're jumping around, y'all.
There's a whole class. My degree's in biotechnology, and I did EPA water testing for 7 years. I worked in the lab, I did the reporting, I did the audits, I did it all. So I'm very familiar with water. And tap water is just not safe for your pets. This is my opinion, but this is from years of water testing. I'm telling you, it needs to be filtered. There's so much pollution in our water supply. And tap water can contain all kinds of contaminants like chlorine, fluoride, heavy metals like lead and copper, pesticides, and unfortunately now pharmaceutical residues are getting into our water supply. And unfortunately, they're not doing a good job of filtering these things out. The substances these accumulate in your body over time. This creates an enormous toxic burden. I agree. And potentially leading to other issues like kidney disease, liver disease, and even cancers. So we know about chlorine and fluoride that are added to municipal water supplies, and they're to kill bacteria and to prevent tooth decay. But these chemicals, they can disrupt your pet's microbiome and endocrine systems. And heavy metals like lead or copper from old pipes are particularly harmful, and they can damage organs and impair immune function. And if you live in an agricultural area like I do, Your water might also contain runoff from pesticides and herbicides, which are known to be toxic to pets. So, filtered water, in my opinion, is the only option. A good water filter can remove many of these harmful substances and it will reduce your pet's exposure to toxins. You definitely want something that's going to be tailored to your water. So if you have well water, you would have a different filter than if you have municipal water. First off, with well water, you do have to worry about fecal coliform bacteria, and that is something that you want to be testing for every year. That would be a pathogenic bacteria test. And what it's looking for is the presence of like E. coli, so bacteria that can make you really sick. And in that case, if you would test positive, you would definitely want to have your well flashed by a professional. And then run that out because obviously they'll probably use chlorine and you don't want to be drinking that. And also, heavy metals can be in well water. So you would need a completely different filter than someone who's got municipal water. So I say test. Or if you have municipal water, there is a link. If you go to the environmentalworkinggroup.org/tap water, you can put in your zip code. And even if you have well water, it's going to show you the toxins that were found in your area. I don't know if you can drop that link, if you're able to drop that link, Dolores.
Yeah, I'm going to right now.
Okay. So that would be where I would start because that's a free resource. And then when you look at what's in your water, please don't panic because it is going to be pretty comprehensive. And I know, like, I'm a professional and I've been doing this for years, so I've seen this for years. Just find a filter that will filter for what's in your water. And like I said, if you have well water, you want to test that every year. I've used a company called Simple Labs. I actually pull the test myself. The test comes in the mail. I do the test and then I send it out and I get the results. And I want to touch on bottled water because it may seem like a safe option, but there's a few reasons why it might not be the best choice for your pet. And that is if your bottled water is stored in plastic. And that can have harmful chemicals like BPA and phthalates from the bottle itself. And then if your bottled water is in a plastic bottle and exposed to heat or sunlight, the leaching process is accelerated. And that expiration date on your bottled water is for the plastic leaching into the water. The water doesn't expire, the bottle expires. Now, that date isn't going to be good if you've let your bottled water sit out in the car for a week. Now you're speeding along the process of the plastic leaching into the water. So I would be very careful. It's not necessarily cleaner or safer than filtered tap water.
I have a tip, Karin, that if you go to the store and you touch the bottle and if it crinkles under your fingers very easily, that bottle is going to break down more readily than a bottle, say the Smart Water bottles. They're nice and hard. Those are a little more hardy. Those are the ones that I go to when I just can't, if I'm at the airport and need some hydration. So you can also be careful in what you buy as well, because we're all stuck in those situations where we don't have those options.
Sometimes you have to do with what you have to do, but I wouldn't drink it all the time. And so I have a glass bottle that I keep. And I have, for me, I use reverse osmosis water that's been remineralized. And I have that on a dedicated faucet on my sink. But I have that installed because I know I have water and I know I have heavy metals in my water because I've tested it. So that's what I'm filtering for. But if you run into those situations, You have to get a bottle of water if you're thirsty, but just reduce the amount that you're using and make sure it's a fresh bottle that hasn't been sitting out in your car for a week.
Yeah, I'll walk by people's cars in the parking lot and see their bottled water and go, oh, a
No,
big sack. And that's
it's
where they get
done.
their water from, is they leave it in their car.
Throw it out. Not unless it's in a glass bottle. And I know people say, or like stainless steel. You can get some good stainless steel reusable bottles also.
Oh, talking about water makes me thirsty.
I know, that's why it's sitting here. But yeah, I think I touched on a lot with that, but just be careful and don't freak out when you do some investigation. Just then, you need to find a good water filter that is basically going to filter for whatever has tested positive in your water.
Water also contributes to natural ways to support a pet's liver and kidneys when they're detoxifying. Do you have any tips about supporting those organs while detoxifying?
Yes. So I think we touched on the milk thistle and the liposomal glutathione before. And those are supplements that you can use along with omega-3 fatty acids because, let's see, omega-3 fatty acids can reduce inflammation and support both kidney and liver health, probiotics and gut health. And this is essential for detoxification, is to have a healthy microbiota in the gut. Probiotics like Megaspore, they can help reduce the burden on the liver and the kidneys. Like I said earlier, milk thistle. Milk thistle is a go-to for me for liver support. And the liposomal glutathione, now I'm repeating myself. Hydration.
It works. It's worth repeating.
Yeah, hydration, because hydration moves everything through the body. So make sure your pet is staying well hydrated to help their bodies support these organs and flush these toxins through. And exercise. So exercise, it helps promote lymphatic drainage, which is another pathway for detoxification.
Ah, yes. And Beth has asked us, let me see if I can find her. What do you suggest for lymphatic drainage? Exercise.
Exercise. Okay, so I know you can do massage for lymphatic drainage, but it's not my wheelhouse.
No, but exercise is truly,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's the best thing because our heart pumps our blood around. It actually, we have a pump there, but our lymph nodes acts as also as detoxification, but there's no pump there. And in humans, it's under our arms and right here. So just the mere act of walking is pumping those toxins. It's like your bloodstream, it goes to the lymphatic system. It's like an exit off of the highway, dumps the toxins, and then gets back on the freeway. So when you do any type of activity, that's going to help keep those lymph nodes running smoothly.
And then like regular routine detox protocols. So with all the toxins that are in our environment, I would detox 1 week out of every month. We were doing quarterly. And at this point, I think that 1 week out of every month is just a really good idea to use like milk thistle and a binder and antioxidants to help support the pet with this constant exposure to the environment. And another thing is clean up your environment. So we had talked about all these chemicals and dust, and so just cleaning it up and using natural cleaning products and avoiding using pesticides and providing fresh filtered water just help reducing the toxic load in the environment. And then that allows their liver and kidneys to focus on the normal detoxification that they would normally do rather than battling all these extra pollutants.
Fantastic. I just put the link to your guide from the EWG in for
Oh, yeah. Let me tell everybody about that real quick.
Okay.
So I love the environmental working group, and that's going to give you the healthy cleaning guide. When you click that link, what you can do is you can search your cleaning products and it will grade them from an A to an F. So you can go through your laundry detergents, go through your soaps, go through anything that you're cleaning your home with, any of the any sprays that you're using, anything, and you can see where it's rated. And let's say you have a product that's not listed on there, you can actually break it down by each chemical, and you can search each chemical and find out what exposure to those chemicals are. So it is a really great tool to help you clean up your house. This is what I did. Now, I have had 5 dogs with cancer, and I went on a tangent on cleaning everything I could possibly find, because when you get that kind of diagnosis, it's heart-wrenching and you think, what can I do? What happened here? How did this happen? So I've gone through every single product that's in my house, and I've put it through the environmental working group healthy cleaning guide, and I've searched all those chemicals, and I've taken out anything that I don't like. So I feel confident, and this is a way for you to feel empowered in supporting your pets in an environment that we can't help has a lot of toxins in it. Whereas you feel like you're doing the best you can do because you've done your research. You know you're using good products. Also, vacuuming. I want to talk about vacuuming. It's not just vacuuming. You need to vacuum a lot. You need to clean your vacuum. Please take apart your vacuum and clean it quarterly, because you have a buildup of the dust and everything in the vacuum. You're going to empty the dust cup, and now you're blowing it from how long? When was the last time you cleaned it? Please clean out your vacuum cleaner.
Man, I'm getting some reminders here today.
Oh, yeah. I know I haven't cleaned out my vacuum cleaner in a year.
Who does that?
I do.
Oh gosh. And speaking of from a lazy person's perspective, as far as the cleaning products go, I just switched to white vinegar.
There you go. Perfect.
Done. It does great. It doesn't smell bad. You put a little essential oils in there, and it does great.
Oh, you can also use that as a fabric softener, and it also naturally cleans your washer. Just be careful if you don't want to use too much of it, because it's acidic.
For the dryer sheets, which are very toxic, what I do is I do 2 parts distilled water to half a part of vinegar with a few drops of essential oils, and then I put cut up t-shirts in there and shake it up, and then throw that in the dryer with some of those wool balls, and it works really well. The trick to not getting a whole lot of static electricity is to pull it out before it's bone dry. So you got to be careful that way. But that's one of my tips for cleaning products.
Yeah, and the high quality essential oils you can use on the dryer balls.
Yeah.
If you need a scent, if you need something scented, like I said, don't go with anything that says fragrance. I want to know what the fragrance is. High quality, like lavender essential oil from like a high quality company. That's what I would use.
Perfect.
If that's what your scent preference is. If you absolutely have to have something that smells good. They really know how to market this stuff to us.
They really do.
Clean and fresh. And meanwhile, you're breathing in a bunch of toxins.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not just one thing that will make us or our pets ill. It's just everything that comes together. And your liver or your lymphatic system, it can only take so much before it starts overflowing and showing symptoms. So I have another rabbit hole to go down.
Oh boy. Let's do it.
Can we talk about how stress impacts a pet's ability to detoxify?
Yes. And so with stress, it can significantly impact your pet's ability to detoxify. So I've been in rescue for 30 years this year, and I have been rescuing from a high intake, overcrowded city shelter. And these pets are coming to me super, super stressed. And when a pet is stressed, their body releases cortisol, and that is a stress hormone. Now, cortisol, it helps in short bursts when it's part of a fight or flight response. But when stress becomes chronic, that elevated cortisol level will wreak havoc on their system. And it keeps their body in a state of inflammation. And it not only makes them feel awful, but it puts the extra strain on their liver and kidneys, which are their primary detoxification organs. So, detoxification is a natural process where the liver and the GI tract work together to remove waste products and toxins from the body. When you add stress into the mix, it overwhelms these systems. And so think of it like this: your pet's liver is already working overtime to process the cortisol hormone, and now the other stress related byproducts. And now it has to handle environmental toxins, medication, and then even other normal waste products from within their diet. So now it's overloaded. And stress that's chronic can lead to leaky gut, where the intestinal lining becomes more permeable. And then this allows toxins that should be eliminated to re enter the bloodstream. And it creates a nasty cycle of toxicity and inflammation. So if your pet's gut health is not good, it's going to struggle to support the liver and detoxification. And there's also behavioral issues that can happen from stress hormones. So your pet might eat less or drink less or move less. And these things are critical to help supporting detoxification. Hydration, it's essential for flushing out toxins and helping stimulate movement within the body. So the first thing you can do is create a calm environment where pets can relax, and remember that your pets are incredibly attuned to your emotions. So managing your own stress is a big part of supporting them and helping them feel safe and balanced. You can also use tools like pheromone diffusers. They have Adaptil for dogs and they have Feel Away for cats. And the basics of clean water, a balanced diet, and gentle detoxification practices, supporting the liver with supplements and with fresh whole foods can make a huge difference. If you're noticing that kind of signs of stress in your pet, like changes in appetite, changes behavior, changes in energy, it's definitely important to address that soon, because chronic stress, it doesn't just affect detox, it can snowball and cause a whole slew of other health issues. Do you have anything to add, Delora? Did I cut?
No, you got it. Stress does some really weird stuff. I have discovered in my own health that if I have some sort of weird ache or pain, I have to go back and go, I've probably been under some stress. Anything that is different in your home, has somebody moved out? Has someone moved in? Has there a new dog next door? Just any little thing out of the ordinary. Pets love routine. They love you. They're going to emote whatever's going on with you they're going to feel it too. They get your energy right off the bat more than your partner, I'm quite sure.
True. They really are. It's like they have an antenna to our feelings. They know before we walk in the door what kind of day we've had. And we just have to be really diligent in like our own feelings, because they will feed off of it. And if you're in a panic state over something, talk about if you have something that, let's say you have a bill you're stressing about or something at work you're stressing about, they don't know what you're stressed about. They just know you're stressed. Oh no, mom's stressed. Now I'm stressed. Something's wrong. I don't know what's wrong, but mom's stressed. So now I'm stressed because I'm trying to figure out what she's stressed about.
Yeah, just sitting down together is going to relieve both you and them. So it's really important to share some quality time.
Absolutely. I do meditation with mine. I absolutely love meditation. I throw YouTube on the big screen and then we sit down and we do meditation music and we sit there and do breathing exercises. And you wouldn't believe like how much that helps. And one thing I even noticed is if I do a breathing exercise and I'm holding one of my dogs, I can actually feel their breath match my breath. So we have my puppy Sven, who is about 1.5 years old. He's my newest rescue, and he was rescued from a cruelty situation that was pretty rough and transported from the south. So he went through all this stuff. And he gets very scared, and he was, when we first got him, he was on this high alert state where it was like, what's that? What's this? Like everything was something to be scared of. And I could tell that he was just in that like high fight or flight state. And I would meditate with him and I would do breathing exercises. And very slowly, I got him to sit on my lap eventually. This is over weeks and weeks of working with him. And then I got him to lay on my chest. And he would be breathing really fast. Like you could tell he was nervous. And as I'm doing these breathing exercises, and I would breathe in and count to 5 and hold my breath for a couple seconds. And then I would breathe out and count to 5. And all of a sudden, his breathing would pick up my breathing and he would calm down. So it's amazing what you can do for your pet just by calming yourself.
It's an amazing tip. Thank you so much. Do you have anything to add? Are you ready to get into some questions?
I think I'm ready to get into some questions.
Okay. Before we jump into these, I want to make sure that everyone knows that these can only be general tips. A holistic pet health coach can work with you to understand your pet's health history, what they're currently experiencing, and give you protocols to be able to address your chief concerns for that pet. So we'll read these questions and just go, we can only say so much, but without knowing the whole picture. But this is what we think. Kay says, any recommendations to reduce atopic dermatitis in a cat/environment from other pets? Beth says there's no solution without medication. Meds are not working and are not healthy.
I think we covered a bunch of topics that would help here. Keeping the environment clean, vacuuming, dusting. We're all shedding cells. So you want to vacuum, dust, then you want to support the immune system. So we can do that with fresh whole foods, and we can do that with omega-3 fatty acids. And then I would throw in some milk thistle there to help the body process everything.
I would do quercetin as well.
Oh, yeah. Call it nature's antihistamine.
Yes. That and those are our top tips for UK.
Absolutely.
So let's move on to, let's see. Wendy asks, is there pet milk thistle or just using human supplements? We just use human supplements most of the time. Our microbiome is very similar to dogs, especially microbiome, because they've been eating our food for thousands and thousands of years. So Hazel and I share so many supplements, the same. One for you, one for me. So yes, just this human is fine. The dosage is different, but it's all the same.
Yeah, the dosage is by weight. And I always say do a detox with your pet. And we do use human supplements and take them with them. Do a detox with your dog. Do a detox with your cat. It'll help you too.
Yeah. And it'll be fun with everyone doing it together. Misery loves company. Okay, we have another question. Heidi asks, my dog was diagnosed with level 16 for the GGT enzyme. Prescribed Denamarin, and I will be starting him with milk thistle. What else can I do? He eats whole foods and has a food sensitivity test. Serious, I assume, asking if it's serious. I'll jump in and say that Dr. Ruth has experienced milk thistle being as powerful as Denamarin. So you can do it in conjunction with the prescription, but in an effort that you want to at some point ask your vet to see if you can wean off of that prescription eventually. You have anything to add?
I do. I actually had a senior dog, and in switching him from kibble to fresh whole food, I got him with triple the liver enzymes down to normal. So, fresh whole food and then also liposomal glutathione would be good, the master antioxidant here.
Yeah, yeah. And when we suggest supplements, it is on top of the assumption that you guys are feeding fresh, whole food. You're not going to get anywhere when you continue to feed the dried kibble because it's essentially fast food.
It's
So,
inflammatory.
yeah,
It's inflammatory food. You're not going to get your pet well and bring inflammation down while you're feeding inflammatory foods.
absolutely. If we don't have any more questions, we've got about 5 more minutes. Doesn't look like Dr. Ruth's going to be able to join us today. It would have been fun if she would have given us a cameo, but this was super fun, even though she wasn't here. Let me double check, make sure we've got everything taken care of as far as the questions. And, oh, Dr. Ruth suggests mercury filter for the water. Do you have experience with mercury filters?
Oh, I'm losing you.
Oh,
I didn't hear what you said.
oh, Berkey filters.
Berkey filters.
Yeah. Do you recommend those?
Yeah, I mean that you have to change these filters out on time. If it needs to be changed in 6 months, change it in 5 months. That's the big thing. I personally have an RO unit. I have a 4 filtration stage. I have an Aquasana, but Berkey's good too. But you have to change those filters out because they get overloaded and they're no good. If it needs to be changed in 6 months, change it in 5. Put it on your calendar. Set an alarm on your phone to go off on that day to let you know to order it. As long as you keep up with the filter replacement, yes, absolutely.
Great, and great advice. Thank you so much. And Audrey, when we were talking about essential oils, Audrey is our essential oil expert, and you have to be very careful about your essential oils, your manufacturer, because if you're working to do detox and you you just get something from Walmart that you haven't really checked into as far as the quality, then you're just adding to that toxic burden of that pet using an essential oil.
Definitely go with high quality. And we have several coaches, Audrey being one of them, that work with essential oils that you should get with if that's what you want to use for your pets.
Very good. This has been so informative, and I've enjoyed visiting with you so much. And everyone who's joined us today has just added to our conversation so wonderfully. And we're going to say goodbye. See you next time, where Dr. Ruth will be joining you. And I do appreciate you all joining us. Have a great day. Thanks so much.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.